Hey everybody, it's Eric Mintel. Welcome to Eric Mintel Investigates. On today's show, I've got my friend Morgan Knudsen, who is absolutely incredible. She is not only a paranormal researcher, she's an author. She has a great show that she takes on the road. We're going to talk about that today. And we're also going to talk about some cases that she's been on, especially the connections between the Dogman that we were investigating in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, and her investigations of a similar type creature in Canada. So we're going to talk about that today. So stay tuned. It's happening right now. Will Nicholson, Tomlinson Sotheby's International Real Estate, Sandpoint, Idaho. Shanghai Jazz, Madison, New Jersey. McCoole's Red Lion Inn, Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Beautiful Peddler's Village, Lahaska, Pennsylvania. Norris McLaughlin, Allentown, Pennsylvania. New Spirit Old Soul, Boyertown, Pennsylvania. My name is Eric Mintel. By night, I'm a professional jazz musician. But by even later at night, I investigate the paranormal. I, along with my team at Eric Mintel Investigates, travel the country investigating all things paranormal. This is Eric Mintel Investigates. Hey everybody, as promised, here she is, Morgan Knudsen. Morgan, it is so great to see you.
It is so great to see you too. It's been way too long, so
I know
this is good.
It seems like it's been long, but it wasn't that long ago. But still, though, both of us have been going crazy with all these investigations, crazy in a good way. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. And, I want to delve right into it because, you have been, well, first of all, everyone knows you're an author. You have got this incredible show that you take on the road, and you're doing a lot of speaking engagements too. So tell people more about that and what you've been up to lately.
Sure. Yeah, it's been crazy this year because, of course, everything is ramping back up into live stuff, and in Canada it was very slow to pick up again. It's still very slow to pick up again, but I've built some incredible shows, and this is what I was doing, pre-pandemic as well, where my goal was always to bridge the entertainment and the academic gap that's there, where instead of going to something and getting information that isn't reliable, or you pulled off TV shows or something like that, to bring the real life, the real science behind parapsychology, between cryptids, all sorts of things like that, and put it in a venue and in an arena that is fascinating and fun and exciting for people. So I developed both a show on cryptids, which I've tied into the sort of the Fantastic Beasts type, but Lord of the Rings type genre, so that people can see like the real stories behind some of these creatures, as well as a brand new show that I'm starting to bring to stage called Phenomena Paranormal Uncharted. And that one is a game changer because it is the next level in not only the phenomenon of hauntings and psychokinesis and the mind, but it's really the core of exploring who we are, consciousness, how we're connected, all of those types of things, and just bringing this to life for people in a way that is just, it's unprecedented, has not been seen on a stage before.
In the heart of Quakertown, you'll find McCoole's Red Lion Inn, a beautiful, historic restaurant where friends can gather and enjoy award-winning food and drink time and time again. And next door, step inside the beautiful McCoole's Arts and Events Center and wait for the show to begin. McCoole's Red Lion Inn.
I love that because, you're bringing elements of all of these familiar things that people are familiar with, and this is one thing that we've been talking about recently is, we're in an era now that we're basically like, people are so open to talk about their UFO experiences, Dogman encounters, Bigfoot encounters. I mean, 10 years ago, we probably wouldn't be there, but now we've got the government, disclosing, hey, these UFO things are real. And I think it's getting everybody, in not, I don't want to say comfortable, but I think they're in more of telling their story where they're not going to be ridiculed,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, the shift, like you're talking about, that has happened, because it really is a shift in consciousness, and almost a global consciousness, if I might go to that level.
Yeah.
But it is, you know, and we saw it way back when Dan Aykroyd did the first Ghostbusters, and people started to put paranormal on, you know, it's a dinner table discussion. And we're seeing the next shift. I think we're seeing this next era where people are, you know, exploring things like Dogman and stuff like that, that, you know, even 10 years ago, people would have been like, yeah, all right.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Out of your mind.
But, I mean, me personally, and I know you've had experiences, but I knew about the Beast of Bray Road, for instance. I knew about that story, but I didn't really know that much about it, the backstory of it, until it presented itself to us on this investigation, and it changed my whole perspective actually encountering the creature. But you know, you do something which is great, and you just said it before, where you're bringing all these different elements, Harry Potter, you know, Fantastic Beasts and things like that. These are kind of things that are very popular now, and people are kind of looking at that, and it's an accessible way of understanding, hey, you know what, I might have had that same experience. Maybe someone else has had that experience. And the other thing is too, you know, and I always say this too, I don't care if you're a CEO of a company, rich, poor, whatever. I mean, everyone has had a UFO experience, ghost experience. Someone has had some kind of paranormal story. In your travels, I mean, I'm sure you're stopped all the time with people wanting to tell you their stories and stuff like that. Let me ask you this: on some of your cases that you've been on, what has been something that's really just been like, you know, in the back of your mind, like, wow, I can't explain this? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot, but what is one that's really kind of like bothers you?
Yeah, you know, I think delving into one of the properties that I've been investigating here in Alberta, which we're holding an event at actually in August called the Haunted Hollow, and it has probably been one of the most baffling cases I've ever encountered, because it is so layered. And which is one of the reasons why we really wanted to bring people in and allow them to explore and experience it, because not only has there been, you know, reports of things like Dogman and things like that, but bizarre things, everything from strange electromagnetic anomalies on the property, hauntings, that like voices, you know, residual energy, movement of objects, strange interactions with entities, like just a plethora of different things. And it's like, just when you think you've got a handle on it, it's like this other layer peels back, and you're going, now what the hell is this? So it's like, this is it's been in the works with the owner of the property, Terry Lynn Blake, who's hosting the event with me. And it's been in our sites now for a very long time. And it's just like one thing after another that's there. So that's probably right now my biggest, what the hell that I've got.
And have you encountered that creature on the property?
In the heart of beautiful Bucks County, you'll find Peddler's Village, a village of shopping and dining, a village of family fun, a village of elegance. Visit Peddler's Village today and make memories that last forever.
Yeah, I had a interesting encounter with it. Both her and her husband have seen it, as well as their daughter and her husband. But a friend of mine and a medium that I was working with, we'd gone out to the house looking at something else. We weren't worried about our Dogman at that point, but we had come out of the house. It was quite late at night. This is an acreage, so it's very dark. The only light in the area was the light from the house that was shining down on the driveway. Okay. And we went to the car, and the acreage is surrounded by very dense woods. And we knew immediately when we went to the car that we were being watched. And it was that instinct, and we've talked about this before, every animal instinct in the fiber of your being is going, there's a predator in the woods. Wow. Like, there's a predator in the woods. And nothing that you were going, oh my God, I'm in immediate danger, I've got to run, or anything like that. But you knew you were being looked at. And so we took a few steps forward to see if we could see it, because as I say, it was so dark. And we could see something standing in the tree line that was quite big. It was really, really tall. and you couldn't define it in terms of features, but you could see it shifting. Like it was trying to be very still, but it was shifting almost to see us.
Wow.
From behind the trees. And we both knew we were in over our heads. I mean, we didn't have anything with us, nothing. And so we thought, you know what, just back up, just back up to the car, just, be calm, got back in the car. And the feeling didn't leave us until we got off the property. Now, about 5 minutes later, I get a text message from Terry Lynn, and she said, by any chance, did you see the Dogman out in the woods? And we said, it's really funny you say that, because I think we did. I think we were being watched, because her large dog that's usually sitting on the back patio, who's as lazy as all get out. Like, this dog doesn't bark at anything. He's just so mellow. He's nearly unconscious. And he was going berserk on the deck. Yeah. And she says, yeah, I think he's come around. So yeah, that was my main encounter with him. And it was really interesting, but I'm hoping eventually I'm going to be able to see him like they did.
Well, I think the more that we're on these investigations, and the more that we go in, try, and same thing with you, with us, same thing with you, we didn't have any protection. Yeah. Because I naively thought, again, I'm going to go get this great documentary. I'm going to hear some great stories, not thinking that we'd like actually run into that. And then you're talking about eye shine. I mean, we saw, or something standing there. We shined a light over there, and we could see something kind of going back and forth like that. And that really just kind of gave me the willies there. And I said, you know what? I never get like that. I'm usually one, let's go for it. But in that instance, we had no protection. And I said, we probably, to me, it was telling us to get out of there, it was get out of the area. But, so this is why this genre is fascinating. And then come to find out, there's Dogman encounters all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you're finding that too?
Totally. And what's so neat about it, that an aspect of it that's just fascinating to me, is the fact that, it's like with Beast of Bray Road, or, the Alberta Dogman, or whoever, at least, the encounters that we've had have been very positive. We always felt that the one here, although very elusive and very shy, is very elusive and very shy, and isn't looking for trouble. He's not looking to hurt anybody. He's not. Very recently, Terry Lynn had an experience with him where she came out to her front hall area, which looks out over the patio and part of the driveway, and she turned on the light just because it was early morning. She turned the light on, and the light shined out of the windows and the deck to illuminate the outside area. And he had been out there, and he saw the light come on and ducked down into the shadows on the pavement, on the ground, and was just perfectly still, like, uh-oh.
Wow.
Yeah. And at first she didn't even realize what she was looking at, because it was so dark. She could just see this sort of black mass.
Yeah.
And as her eyes adjusted, she could see his face, and he was just spooked. Like, I'm not sure what to do.
Wow.
I'm just going to wait for her to turn the lights off. And then she did, and he left.
Judith A. Harris, attorney, partner, and chair of the Estate Trust and Tax Group of the law firm of Norris, McLaughlin, with offices in Allentown, PA, Bridgewater, New Jersey, and New York City. Norris McLaughlin is a full-service law firm handling matters ranging from estates, trust and tax business law, litigation, real estate, intellectual property, healthcare law, municipal law, and immigration law, just to name a few. Norris McLaughlin.
But it really, I think, spoke to the character almost of what's there. So we've always been just trying to be, very, very, loving and respectful to it. And I know you guys have done the same thing with Beast of Bray Road, where I think there's so much to be learned from these. It's phenomenal. And then you get something like The Land Between the Lakes and cases like that, and it's like an absolute chaos and chaotic nightmare. So the differences are phenomenal.
I want to hear more about that too, because the other thing is too, has she gotten any trail cam pics of this?
Yeah, we've got trail cams up now in the woods and stuff like that. The funniest trail cam story that we've got, we'd been out there. We had a search dog team come out a little while ago for other reasons. And we noticed that the trail cam that was about 10 feet at least up a tree was muddy. And we were like, that's interesting. So we throw the ladder up, climb the ladder, get this thing down. And the latch in where it's strapped to the tree, where the fabric band kind of like goes in and you pull it tight. The plastic part was ripped. It was broken. And this great big muddy splat was on the side of this trail cam. Wow. And so, so we're pretty sure what happened was he got interested in what it was, because whatever it was had its feet on the ground because it was muddy, and had reached up to pull it down. I think realized that it wouldn't come off and left it alone. And so we've got, so we've got some interesting things. And right below the tree, we found a nice good track underneath. So it was cool.
Well, all of this evidence is just, I mean, it's fascinating to me because it's ongoing and nonstop. And I know it on Lee's property, he's getting a lot of really incredible footage and photos and things that are going on all the time. So let's switch gears here. Now, you are also doing a really great show. Tell us a little bit about that, because I've seen you're playing with fire, you're playing with snakes. And so tell us about that. That's pretty wild. So
yeah, and that's being turned into the new show I was mentioning before, Phenomenon. And it's such an interesting dynamic, because when the venues allow it, I'm able to turn around and bring in my fire and stuff like that. And basically what I do is I use fire as a teaching tool, and I use it in as many of my shows and whatnot as I can, because it is such a great bridge and visual bridge for people to understand that you can have set beliefs about something, and those set beliefs can be challenged right in front of you. And you have to start re-examining what you're thinking. So if I'm turning around and I'm eating fire, or I'm, I can touch it, pick it up, whatever. And it's fine, but it's because I understand the science, I understand thermal lag and fuels and things like that. It's doable. It doesn't take a magic trick. It's not something where I've got stuff on my hands or there's some sort of a gimmick.
Right.
It's all science. And so I use that in Phenomenon often, because I can turn around and say, look, if we're all taught fire's hot, don't touch fire, it's bad, it's destructive, that's it. And by turning around and showing people that, yes, that's true. However, there is a gray area in here, that just because you were taught these things and are rigid about these things does not mean you can't re-examine your thinking and learn something new.
Looking for a vacation home? Look no further. Will Nicholson of Tomlinson Sotheby's has just what you're looking for. World-class entertainment at Schweitzer Mountain or water sports at Lake Pend Oreille, Idaho has it all. Fresh powder skiing, live music, multiple restaurants, and downhill biking in the summer. And, if you're lucky enough, you might spot Bigfoot. He loves it here. Give Will a call today.
So that's always been my goal with this, and with the entirety of the show Phenomena. That's really what I'm aiming to do is to get people to understand that there can be concepts that you've held, just real rigid concepts. I don't believe in this. This is crazy. This is stupid, blah, 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 whatever. And then bringing it to the attention of people to say, no, not only is there scientific evidence to suggest that this absolutely exists, but to not believe everything you think, because we believe ourselves when we talk about stuff. We believe ourselves. And when we tell ourselves something, we tend to believe that it's real. And it can be a really dangerous position to fall into, as we know. And I think that's the great thing about things like Dogman and whatnot. And what I'm hoping to do with this new event, Haunted Hollow, is the fact just to show people that it's like, what, you can open your mind to a new arena of phenomenon that is absolutely magical.
And that you just said something there too. You had talked earlier, or the last time we talked about that thought transference, which has been something people have been talking about, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. But maybe you could explain to people about what that means, like what's there or what we conceive is there.
Yeah. So one of the big research areas in parapsychology right now is the idea of that thought is creating, is thought is influencing our physical space, and more than we ever thought before. We're not talking about things like, just things like, spoon bending or,
Right.
that kind of a thing. We're talking about something that is influencing the reality in which we're perceiving. And it's so massive that there's been really heavy duty studies into psychokinesis, both macro and micro psychokinesis, that now they're really beginning to understand and look at the idea, along with different areas of quantum mechanics and quantum physics, that hold on, when the stories we tell ourselves, our state of expectation, how we go into a space, what we're focused on, the emotional state that we're in, is actually creating the reality that we're experiencing.
Mm.
And it's phenomenal. And so this idea is now being lent into the idea of these bizarre critters, whether it be Dogman, Wendigo, all of these strange things that people are saying, no, we're seeing these are, physical things. Well, yeah, they are physical things, because these thought forms seem to be able to materialize and manifest.
Wow.
Shanghai Jazz has been a staple of gourmet cuisine and incredible live jazz for over 20 years. Owner Tom Donahoe has created an atmosphere where good food and good friends can gather for an unforgettable culinary and musical experience. And don't forget to check out the new Encore Lounge downstairs. Choose from a variety of drinks and wait for the show to begin. Shanghai Jazz, your destination for jazz.
Wow.
And they create these things. They create, imprint it within the environment, just as you and I would, but they're not entirely physical.
So they're manifesting.
Yeah, and that's sort of the idea behind it, is that at some point these were thought into existence.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't sit and pretend to know what these dogmen are or anything like that,
Right.
but I think it's high on the list as to what these actually might be, is that they're a thought form, they're consciousness that has become manifest and more physical, which you could argue that we are that as well.
Yeah, that's true. I was just going to say that's amazing. I mean, and
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of reports of these dogmen lately. I mean, where there's 2 cases now that I'm working on, and this is something that I talked to a guy who is he's a aerospace engineer.
Cool.
And this is a guy that's not, you could, and I'm sure you're good at this too, you could disseminate the BS from the truth.
Yeah.
Right? And, when somebody's talking to you and telling you what they saw, and they're genuinely like, you could feel that fear, that scaredness in their voice, and they're nervous. Yeah. I think that's something you have to kind of look at. We look at this, like, I go into this like a detective. You're looking at all the clues, but you're not coming up with an assumption of what it could be right off the bat. Right? You're coming up with like, okay, let's check it off the top of the list. Let's go from the bottom to the top. Like, what could be the most mundane kind of like explanation? And then when you get more into the fantastic explanations of, wait a minute, this could be a creature, this, the amount of people that are seeing this type of thing. So that to me is really fascinating. When you go on a case, how do you conduct yourself? Like, how does it, when you're at a location? I think I probably asked you this before, and I think you said you don't feel those things when you walk into a location, as far as like ghosts and things like that are concerned. But when you're on, say, a cryptid investigation, what's the first thing that you're going to do when you get out there in the field?
When you step on the beautiful grounds of New Spirit Old Soul, you get that familiar feeling. That feeling of being home. A husband-wife team bringing a unique architectural salvage to every home or business. The grounds can also be rented for that special occasion or a private event. Goods for the uncommon home. New Spirit Old Soul.
Well, one of the first things that I think is so primary is to talk to witnesses, and see and to start to understand where these witnesses are coming from, because their state of mind, their state of being, just in the same way that when you're dealing with hauntings, parapsychology, all of that again is going to play a role into what they're going to report back to you. So, their emotional state, the slight body language cues that they're going to be giving us as they're talking to you. Are they exaggerating? Is this something that, they're misidentifying, stuff like that. You're always like trying to rule that out. And I think then understanding the environment as well, what exactly can the environment support, hold, and things like that. I think where Dogman and things like that get tricky, that where it deviates from things like Sasquatch or anything like that, is that you've got a meld of both areas. So you've, like you've found with Beast of Bray Road, there's this very strong non-physical side to what's happening, where tracks show up and then disappear, or they only go so far and then it walks through a wall. Where is it?
Like what?
It is. So I think that's where the challenges with this become, is that I don't think, at least with Dogman, that we're dealing with a physical animal. I mean, evolutionary wise, it doesn't make any sense. But physically, just the things that it's doing, and the fact that ours can't be caught on trail cam either. Like, we're getting mists and
exactly.
It was really strange things. So this case has been interesting because it's had to be a sort of an amalgamation of both. Okay, physical cryptid, looking for tracks, looking for a lot of broken trees. We're getting a lot of that, strange structures and stuff like that, where, you're not going to get that usually with a haunting. But at the same time, you're also looking for strange electromagnetic anomalies, static anomalies, light anomalies, and it's all sort of wound into one. So this has been a learning curve, big time, for me, because it's, as I say, it's encompassing so many different areas.
Let's change gears now. We're going to have all this information too, so people could find you. But I know the last time we talked, you were working on your second book, I believe. And there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
The Gift of Instinct. Give us like a small encapsulation of what it's about.
So the Gift of Instinct is really about understanding and following the spiritual calling that the universe has instilled within us. And I go through in 10 lessons, and the lessons that I've learned over the years, others I'm sure have important lessons as well. These were my top 10. And I use examples from people in philosophy, parapsychology, neuroscience, to basically allow people access into not only the world of parapsychology, but into their own lives, and to understand that this stuff is a calling. And there is a pull that we all have, no matter what your dream is, no matter what your life is calling you to, there is a paranormal spiritual instinct that we've got, and it can save your life. It call you to who you're supposed to be. It can connect you with non-physical. It can do all of these things if you're willing to allow it and follow it. And this is all about the instinct to follow that. So
I love that. Yeah. Buy the book, people. So
thank you.
And so we'll put a link on there too as well. But we got a couple more minutes left. What is going on next with you? What's the next events going on?
Oh gosh, there's so much that's happening. As I say, one of our bigger events is the Haunted Hollow Cryptids Lore and Bonfire, which we're going to be doing. It's all about Alberta Dogman and local cryptids here in Alberta and Millet. We've got so of course my show Phenomena, the Paranormal Uncharted. You can find that on my website, and it is ready to be booked. So if you've got a venue, if you're an organizer, or anything like that, give me a shout. It's ready to go. And of course, The Gift of Instinct, which is available on Amazon. That's available, and the season 4 of Haunted Hospitals will be airing, should be in the next couple of months. So
that's very cool.
And Supernatural Circumstances, forgot that. So the podcast can be which we talk about Dogman, we talk about all sorts of things, and you're of course coming on tomorrow.
I'm coming on tomorrow. Exactly. I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
I know
these 30 minutes go by so quick. But we've definitely got to get you on one of the cases, and vice versa. We got to do something up there. So
absolutely,
we got to get like the planets to line up here so we can get up there and make some stuff happen. So
I completely agree.
Let's work on that. That would be awesome.
That's the next goal.
Absolutely.
By the end of the month, we'll have something figured out.
Let's manifest that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm in.
All right. Good deal. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Morgan. Thank you so much for being here again. What a pleasure. And everybody, I hope everybody enjoys the show. And again, I've always got some great guests on here. So stay tuned, and a lot more Eric Mintel Investigates interviews coming up. But thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.